What's going on YouTube? Steve here, back with another video, and today we're gonna be doing things a little bit differently. We're gonna be doing an install video of these SR Performance coilovers for the 2018 Mustang GT. Now we are doing this video at home, doing this install myself. I'm gonna show you how to do it, not step by step, but pretty cut through, so that way it's not a 4-hour install, because it's gonna be pretty time consuming. But we're going to be doing it with tools that you can use at your house, jacks and jack stands, pretty simple stuff, so that way you can do this at home too. This install shouldn't be too difficult. The rears is where we're going to have a big problem, is because you got to drop the rear subframe a little bit to get the springs out, but the fronts, it's pretty easy. You just unbolt from the top on the shock tower bolts, and then on the bottom to the control arm. It's a 1 to 3 inch drop on these SR Performance coilovers. You can check them out on AmericanMuscle.com. That's where I got them. They're not crazy expensive. They're only like $700. So you should be able to do this on a budget friendly build. And they're pretty adjustable too, so it's not like you're getting some cheap crap. They're fully adjustable. As you can see, the ride height is right here. You twist this up. And then you also got on the top, your dampening adjustment that you stick the key in there. That way you can adjust the dampening on the shocks. It's pretty nice. Yeah, let's get right into this and start by jacking up the car. First we gotta chalk this wheel. Seems like this hitch will do perfectly fine. All right, first we're gonna remove this 10mm bolt up top. It's holding the brake line to the sway bar. So these sway bar bolts are 18s. See, now it's spinning. So now this is where you get your Allen key, put it in there, and use the box wrench. All right, now we got this off. So that should just pop right out. Next we're gonna remove the shock absorber, which is 2 18s up top. All right, after those bolts, you gotta go to the bottom. I'm not gonna really be able to show you guys taking these ones out, but you see these 2 bolts right there on the bottom? Those are what you're gonna be removing to take the bottom of the shock out. All right, we got those out. While I'm under here, I'm gonna take these 2 bolts out, which I think they're the same exact size, 15mm, as these bottom shock bolts. Kinda lied, they're 13s. Those are 13s. All right, now with all that shit disconnected, we can get these shocks out of here. You just pull them right out. There's little like hooks on the top. You gotta kind of push it down and pull it out. I'm gonna go do the other side, so that way you guys don't have to fucking watch that bullshit. But it's pretty much just take the subframe bolt, the 2 smaller subframe bolts out, take the shock bolts out, loosen the sway bar, and then you're good. And everything should be ready to be dropped. So I'm gonna do this to the other side and be back once I'm taking those subframe bolts out. All right, now that we're under here, you gotta get this, that one, and that one. Those are all the subframe bolts. You wanna loosen those. Yeah, those are tight. All right, now that we got them all loose, you're just gonna slowly back them out. They're just gonna back out. You're not gonna see the subframe drop yet because the jack's under there supporting it. So you just wanna drop them down maybe a couple inches. That should be good enough to pull the springs out of there. Now with all them bitches loose, we're gonna slowly All right, so I just ended up removing the subframe bolts because I couldn't get enough clearance. So I removed them. I think I got enough space now to pull these things out. Yeah. Whack this bitch. Pull her up. Should come out. All right, so how you're gonna wanna set these up for your ride height. What you're gonna wanna do is take your top cap, put it in there like you're putting the spring in. And you just want to line up the bottoms pretty close, and just look at the top. You see that? That's about an 1.5 inch drop, which is probably what I'm going to stick with. You want to make sure they're both even on both of these, and then you should be good on these. You're going to want to adjust the this to about 1.5 inch once you take those top caps off. We're going to stick it up in there. They give you this little set screw on there that you can stick it up in there, and it'll hold on to that top little lip for the spring. Get our new spring. There we go. Now I'm going to do the other side before I jack the subframe back up, so that way we can stick her right in. All right, now with both sides in, ready to raise the subframe back up into position and put those subframe bolts back in, and then get the shocks up in there. Should be pretty quick. This actually wasn't too bad on the rears. I thought it was going to be worse, but it wasn't too bad. All right, what has turned out to be one of the most asinine things is aligning these fucking bolts to the middle. I don't even know how to describe it. I'm pushing and pulling this thing. It's being a pain in my ass, but I'm gonna get this done. Oh my God. All right, now that I got these in here aligned, I'm gonna torque them down with a torque wrench. Oh my God. Ah. Dude, these are such a bitch. You don't even know. Boom, that's done. We're done that. Holy shit. All right, so now that we have it set, take our ring. Right, next, just gonna stick this cap back on these. I think it goes on the bottom. Okay, that's our shock absorber right there. All right, so I figured put the bottom ones on first, so that way you get the you have the angle you want. There we go. That's where we want it. Get our bolts, stick them up through. There we go. All right. Now that we're good, straight up just throwing wheels around. All right. Now we'll throw this bitch on. All right, we're back with day 2 on the car. Got to do the fronts now. The backs are pretty good. I like the fitment, maybe a little bit lower, but that's nothing we can't change after we do it. All right, so next you're gonna remove the brake caliper, those 2 bolts on the back side. You're gonna remove that, remove the rotor because it's just in your way. So take that stuff off, and then you'll be able to get to these 2 bolts right here to take the lower shock mount off. All right, first we're gonna take out these 3 bolts on top that hold the top of the shock on. We're just gonna leave one loose so that way we can take those bottom ones out without having the top move around too much. Extension gang. Oh, what the fuck just happened? Is it loose? Yeah, okay. I was like, what the fuck? It just like cracked. Now what you're gonna want to do here is back these bolts out and just to the edge of the nuts out to the back of the bolt, so that way you can hammer it, because these are splined on the other side. That's why it didn't spin. You don't have to use two. All right, so now we got all these bolts undone, the clips are out. So all you got to do is pop these bolts out and then loosen the one up top, and the shock should come right out. Just like that. Your old strut comes out. All right, next we're gonna line these up as close as we can get them. Sit on about 2.5 right now. Actually might stick with the stock 2.5 that it has on here now. Let's check the other one, match it up. Yeah, so they're the same, so I'm just gonna stick them in there the way they are now, because it's a good setting for me. I like the 2.5 inch drop, so we'll get these things shoved up in there. Next is to lift this hub back into the place, and you just lift it right up and in. It should just slide right in there. Just slide them in there until they're seated. Now you're going to want to make sure these splines on the bolts are lined up with the splines inside, so just push it and turn it and make sure it's locked in there. Same with the top. And all you're going to do is put the nut back on and then tighten down the nut, so then it pulls that back in. You don't want to hammer these things back in, because then you'll destroy the splines, and that's like, they lock in there like that. Next, installing this sway bar end link. It's adjustable, so you want to adjust it to the length that you have it, so it just fits in. Now we're going to go back up to the top. I'm going to tighten these. We got to reinstall the brakes. Boom. All right, I completed both sides. Both done and in there. Now we're gonna throw the wheels back on. We're gonna drop her down, and we're gonna see how she looks. I think she's gonna look good. All right, so it looks good. It looks good. But we have a bit of a problem. We have a fitment issue with the coilover hitting the tire on the inside. So if you look on the inside here, you see the coil right here. It's touching right on the inside right here. I put spacers on it too. It's still not working. So I'm ripping these things all off and returning them. And you're selling $800 shocks and struts for coilovers, and they don't even work. It's bullshit, and I'm not dealing with it. So gotta get those old babies back out, take it off the car and return them. Already got the return slip. Everything's gonna be a-okay, but it's gonna be a bitch. So I'll see you when I get all that stuff done. All right guys, so the whole fiasco with the car is all fixed. I swapped the aftermarket parts, put the stocks back in. Pretty simple, not too bad. She still looks good as per usual, but I got everything put back in the box, and I'm gonna be shipping them out. So word of advice, if you own a 2018 Mustang GT or just any of the S550 chassis with the wider 19-inch wheels like this has, so because these tires are wider than the stocks, this back here, you can't really see it, but the strut would come up here, up in there, and it contacted the inside of the tire wall, and you can't really have anything rubbing on the tire, because then you'll blow a tire, and that's no fun. So we swapped everything back out, put the stocks back in. It looks pretty good, so I'm not too worried about it. But shipping those things out, and I don't know, maybe we'll get something different, maybe some catless downpipes, or maybe some braces instead to try to improve the handling. But yeah, just don't buy those SR Performance Sport coilovers if you got an S550 with the wider wheels, because it won't fit, and you'll be bitching your face off when you take everything apart and then put that in because it doesn't fit, you know. I did the rears first, right, and the rear is the harder part, and then the rears fit fine, and then I put the fronts on and they didn't fit, so I was stuck taking everything apart. So I really wish I didn't take the rears apart, because trying to line the subframe is really annoying, because there's like these little, the bolts just can move around in there. You can buy these bushings that will go in there, so that way you won't have to deal with that. You can just stick it straight in, but I figured out and got it aligned pretty close, and then we're gonna go get an alignment tomorrow on it, so you guys don't need to see that. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's a good install video, so if you ever have to install coilovers, you know how to do it, because it's pretty much the same across all coilovers how to install that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This has been Steve with Steel Horses, and we are out.